Welcome everyone, my name is Resent and this is my attempt to beat a Hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon Platinum where ChatGPT chooses my encounters for me. The rules for the challenge: I can only catch the first encounter per route, chosen by AI. If a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead and cannot be used again. No over-leveling the gym leader's ace. No items in battle. Held items are okay. And we also play with the species clause and on set mode. We start our adventure by being peer pressured from our rival to try and outrun the wild Pokemon so we can get to Professor Rowan and ask him to give us one. Rowan stops our master plan and offers us a choice of 3. We ask ChatGPT which is the best, and no surprise, it chooses Chimchar. Pretty happy with this, given Infernape is an absolute stud and should help carry us throughout the run, and we take down our rival in the first battle. For our Lake Verity encounter, ChatGPT says to catch a Bidoof, which is our only option. This isn't true, and this will happen on a few more locations throughout the game. No problem though, we aren't afraid of a challenge. Bidoof will help out a little bit. Good water typing evolves early, and the normal typing will help for Fantina later on. Our next encounter, ChatGPT recommends Starly. This is a great mon with probably the best common ability in the game. It evolves early and will be great for Gardenia. Route 204, our AI recommends Budew. Great, we get a friendship evolution. At least it'll be a good grass type for Rourke. In the cave, we're told to pick up a Zubat. Make that 2 friendship evolutions. No problem though, Crobat is typically pretty strong. We do some leveling and head east to take on our rival human for the second fight against him. His lead Starly is handled by Scratch and Ember, and then his Piplup is handled by a few absorbs from Budew, giving us an easy victory against him. Route 203, we're told to pick up a Shinx. Another Intimidate mon, so can't complain about that. I'm not sure how much use you'll end up getting though. Heading into the Orberg Gate, we're told to pick up a Geodude. This is also going to be a pretty decent encounter. Solid wall Pokemon, should help against the Purugly that's known to be a run killer. On Route 207, we come into the first instance of having to use our own judgment on an encounter, as AI's recommendations are all dupes, and it doesn't see that Ponyta is an available encounter here. It just ends up being a Kricketot though, which is what we decide on, and it's going to end up living in the PC to not see any use. Down in the mine, again, ChatGPT doesn't see all the available encounters and tells us to catch a Geodude or a Machop. Machop isn't actually available here, so we decide to go for Onix, the only other available encounter. Onix is, well, let's face it, an Onix, and it's not that great anyway, so I figured this was probably the best way to go about this when AI doesn't recognize that there is an available Pokemon to be captured here. We're in the first gym and taking on the rock leader Rourke. He leads with a Geodude who wants to set up Stealth Rocks, so we lead Monferno to get a taunt off. We go for Mach Punch, which gets a crit and takes it out. Rourke sends in his Onix here, and again this thing's probably going to want to set up the rocks. It just goes for Screech, which is fine. So it hits us with a soft rock throw, and we hit him with a Mach Punch to take him down low as Rourke heals back up. Rock Throw isn't doing much, so we stay in and take him out. Cranidos is coming in here, and he's going for a hard headbutt, so we decide to pivot to Geodude on it. We take it fine, and now Cranidos goes for a Leer, as we hit it for a Rock Smash that does about a third. Cranidos switches to Pursuit, as we go for Rock Smash, which gets the defense drop, and one more Pursuit takes us all the way down to 2 HP, but Geodude holds on, and hits it with one more attack to win us our very first badge. At the Valley Windworks, we end up grabbing a Shellos here and adding it to the team. Galactic Admin Mars is our next big fight, and she leads with a Zubat. We lead with Spark Plug to take her out with a critical hit Spark, and Purugly is going to come out next, and this thing is terrifying at this point in the game. We swap to Geodude on the Fake Out, as Purugly hits us with a feint attack, and we retaliate with a Rock Smash. A few more turns go by, and we get a high roll magnitude to take out Purugly and win us the battle deathless. On Route 205, we pick up a Buizel and add it to the team. Fast water type, can't complain. We battle through Eterna Forest with Cheryl, and then end up picking up a Ghastly. Ghost types are rare, so it could end up being helpful later on. The next encounter chosen for us is Machop. Not sure how helpful it'll be as we already have Monferno, who's our main fighting type. But what are we going to do? We're not getting these encounters. Gardenia is our next roadblock on the journey to become champion. She leads with a Turtwig, so for the second gym in a row, we lead Monferno to go for the taunt and prevent Turtwig from setting up Reflect. We go for a Flame Wheel, which takes it low and gets a burn, and with the burn damage, it's enough to take it out in one hit. Cherrim comes in, and we hit a hard Flame Wheel, tank a Magical Leaf, and then take it out with one final Flame Wheel. Last up is Gardenia's Roserade, and the stats on this thing at this point in the game can be tough to handle, so we gotta be careful here. That is, unless your name is Sriracha the Monferno, and you land a crit to take it out in one shot and win us our second badge. We raid the Galactic Hideout and take on Jupiter. You probably already know how much trouble she can be this early in the game. She leads with Zubat, which is no problem, as Sparkplug takes it out with a single spark. In comes her Skuntank, and this thing is a monster. We decide to swap to Pebble the Geodude and get hit with a Smoke Screen. We pivot back to Sparkplug to get an Intimidate off, and it goes for a Screech to drop our defenses by 2 stages. We swap back to Geodude on a Night Slash, and another Night Slash hits us and we're already down into crit range. We hit it with a Magnitude, but it heals back up with a Citrus Berry. Another Smokescreen drops our accuracy as a Magnitude 7 is just short of getting the KO. We swap to Nightwing the Golbat to eat the last attack and take it out. This was by far the hardest battle yet. Route 207 is our next encounter, and ChatGPT chooses Gligar. I'm thrilled by this, as Gliscor is probably my favorite Pokemon, and so far I have really no complaints with the choices that AI has given us. We've built a pretty strong team so far. Wayward Cave is our next encounter, and it chooses Bronzor for us, so no Garchomp this run. That's fine though, we don't use it anyways, it's kinda too OP for the vanilla games. Also, if you didn't know, in Wayward Cave at the end of the tunnel, you can grab the Earthquake TM this early on. That'll be great for our new Gligar. Fantina is up, and wow, Vanilla Platinum has some insane fights early on. Fantina has a good team, and they all threaten to hit us with good damage. Her lead Duskull comes in, and we hit it with a Bite for over half, as she goes for Will-O-Wisp and burns us. One more Bite takes it out, and she sends in Haunter. We send in Bronzor on a failed Sucker Punch, and hit it with an Extra Sensory for about a third. One more takes it down low as she heals up with a Super Potion, but 2 more Extra Sensories are enough to take it out, leaving Bronzor with still some decent health left. Last up is Mismagius. We decide to stay in here because we don't have much that can take attacks from this thing. We get confused, so we end up switching into Chewbacca on a Shadow Ball that we are immune to. Now it goes Magical Leaf, so we switch to Bloom for the resist, and we have no choice but to stay in on a Psybeam. It of course gets a Confusion, but at least doesn't crit. We whiff on a Leech Seed, so now we are in trouble. We swap to Bronzor, and Mismagius crits a Shadow Ball, killing our first team member of the run. Shellos comes in and eats a hard Magical Leaf. Water Pulse hits back and does barely nothing. Did I mention that we're in trouble? We stay in and get confused and then immediately hit ourselves. Oranberry heals us out of kill range given we don't hit ourselves, so we hit back with another Water Pulse. We swap to Chewbacca again on an immune Shadow Ball and eat a Magical Leaf. Water Gun does very little damage, and I don't know how we're going to get out of this one. Another Magical Leaf drops us to the red, as our Water Gun hits back but takes it into Citrus range and Mismagius heals back up. We have no choice but to sacrifice B-Barrel if we don't want to wipe here. We send Roselia back in and get confused. Luckily, this time we break through and actually hit our Leech Seed. We have some passive recovery set up now and have Mismagius on a timer. We eat a hard Psybeam and then hit it with a Stun Spore to paralyze it. Something else has to die here, and I'm sorry Ripple, but it's gotta be you. Mismagius gets paralyzed on the first turn, so maybe there's some hope here. Water Pulse hits and falls just short, and Shadow Ball kills Shellos. We still aren't out of the woods here though, and I'm not sure if Fantina has any heals. We swap into Phantom, and luckily she doesn't, so a Nightshade is enough to take it out. That was a very rough fight, losing 3 members there, but we push on. Our rival challenges us to a fight in the gate. We lead with Pebble, who's a Graveler now, and he leads Staravia. Staravia sets up a double team, and our rock throw misses. Staravia gets another double team up, but our rock throw hits it for over half. He hits an Endeavor, dropping us down to Staravia's HP, and we miss again. Its wing attack does weak damage, and our last rock throw takes it out. Roselia comes in, so we decide to switch into Golbat on the quad-resisted Mega Drain. Wing attack hits and takes Roselia out in one shot. Prinplup gets sent out, and we hit a wing attack for decent chip. It goes for a Growl, so we pivot into Roselia again on the Bubble Beam. One Giga Drain is enough to take it out. Ponyta is last out and handled by a few Nightshades from Haunter, winning us the fight. I make a bad mistake here against a wild Roselia, and I have Graveler out and it's weak. I try to run and I fail because my speed is low, so the Roselia's Mega Drain easily kills Graveler, and that's our 4th death of the run. That's a sloppy play, and there's no need for any of that to happen. We need to be more careful going forward. Heading into the Maylene fight, our team is scaled quite well. Check out the overlay on the side to see our team. She leads Meditite and we lead Nightwing, who's a Crobat now. She goes for a fake out, which unfortunately gets a crit, but joke's on her as Crobat can't be flinched with inner focus, so we take it out. Machoke comes in and it wants to go for a Rock Tomb, so we swap to Kadabra, who can eat it, and even after the speed drop, outspeed and KO with a Psybeam. Last up for Maylene is her ace Lucario, so we swap into Sinnoh, who's now evolved into a Gliscor. Lucario hits a Force Palm, which unfortunately paralyzes us. No worry though, as we can eat its next attack, and one Earthquake is enough to win us a very easy gym badge. Barry challenges us again, and he leads with Staravia and we lead with Luxray. We trade Intimidates as Staravia tries to boost its evasion with Double Team, but we hit through with Spark to take it out. Ponyta comes in next, so we swap into Gliscor here, eat a Stomp, and follow with an Earthquake that gets the one shot. Prinplup comes out next, so we swap back into Spark Plug on the Bubble Beam. Spark is just shy of getting the KO here, so we swap into Bloom on its following Bubble Beam. A Giga Drain is enough here to get the last little bit of chip we need to take it out. This just leaves Barry's Roselia, who we can swap into Sriracha and take it out with one Flamethrower, winning us the fight. Barry's Idle Wake is the next gym leader we have to face. He leads Gyarados and we lead Luxray. We trade Intimidates and eat a Waterfall, but retaliate with a Spark, giving a fatal hit to Gyarados and taking it out. Quagsire is sent out next, so we swap to Bloom on the Mud Shot. That lowers our speed, but it doesn't matter, as we still can outspeed and take it out with a quad-effective Giga Drain. The Ace Floatzel is last, and we swap to Luxray to get an Intimidate off. Ice Fang hits for weak damage, and the Brine luckily doesn't crit, which would have killed us. Spark, again, just barely doesn't get the KO here, so we swap into our own Floatzel on the Brine, and we win the mirror match and take it out with a Crunch, giving us the Fen badge. We run some errands for Cynthia and make our way to Celestic Town, beat the brakes off Cyrus. He'll be a problem later, but this gives us access to Surf, and the other side of Sinnoh now opens up. In the Trophy Garden, ChatGPT tells us to pick up a Pikachu. This is great. We need a fast electric type. Luxray's too slow. I mean, Intimidate's good, but having speed on the electric types is better. I haven't been showing every encounter since we don't use all of them, just the important ones, and this is a great one here. Our rival challenges us on the Canlake Bridge, and we start with our new Raichu against his Staraptor. One Thunderbolt is enough to take it out, and now Barry sends in Rapidash. We pivot to Sinnoh the Gliscor on a takedown, which does a little bit, as Rapidash goes for Tail Whip, and then one Earthquake is enough to take it out. This baits out Empoleon, so we pivot to Bloom on the water move, and then hit it with a hard Giga Drain. He goes for Aerial Ace, and this leaves us low in the red, but we can just pivot into Volt Zip the Raichu on the next one, and finish it with a Thunderbolt. Heracross comes in last, and we switch to Crobat on the 4x resisted Brick Break, and go for a Fly, which gets the one shot. Roserade comes out last, and again, one Fly is enough to take it out. Byron is up next, and he's probably the easiest gym leader. A Flamethrower takes out Magneton, Steelix, and a Close Combat takes out Bastiodon, giving us our 6th badge. The Ice-type leader, Candace, is up next, and she leads with a Sneasel, and we lead with Sriracha. We go for Mach Punch, which gets the KO, and Piloswine falls to a single Flamethrower. We swap to Houndoom as Frostlass sets up 2 double teams, and we hit it back with a Fire Fang for half. Its Citrus Berry heals it back up, and we switch to Feint Attack to avoid the evasion boost. We get a crit and take it out. Abomasnow comes out next, and Fire Fang falls just short of getting the KO, as she hits us back with an Avalanche. We take some Hail Chip, and Candace heals back with full restore. Our Fire Fang doesn't hit the range again, as we get hit by Hail and then heal with our Citrus Berry. We miss a 5% chance on Fire Fang, and then Focus Blast comes in and takes us out. I didn't know that it knew Focus Blast. I should have done some more research, but Sriracha can Mach Punch it to give us the 7th badge. But we need to pay more attention and start looking up these movesets. Having some bad deaths start to stack up here. We battle through the Galactic Headquarters and take out Cyrus. He's pretty easy here, but we're going to have to battle him again in approximately 10 minutes, and his team is somehow going to get way better. So more about him in a minute. This fight isn't hard, and then we have to fight another one of the commanders, which we take care of no problem. The Mount Coronet double battle with our rival against the Galactic Admins is here, and we start with an X-Scissor as the Bronzor set up Reflect and Light Screen. Another X-Scissor takes out the first Bronzor, and Earthquake does some chip to Skuntank and ends up getting Barry's Munchlax killed. Another Earthquake takes out the Skuntank and Barry's Rapidash. Raichu comes out, and Barry takes out the other Bronzor, and we hit Golbat to half. Sludge Bomb KOs Barry's Staraptor, and his team is starting to drop like flies. Barry's Heracross gets knocked out as our Staraptor can go for close combat to take out the Purugly. Empoleon Aqua Jet's taking out a Golbat, and we can hit the last one with an Aerial Ace for half and eat a Poison Fang. We go for a Fly here, hoping to just kind of stall and see if Empoleon can take it out, and Empoleon gets confused and then swaggers the Golbat, giving it a +2 attack. Our Fly misses, and then Golbat hits through the confusion, and with the +2 boost is enough to kill our Staraptor. Thanks, Barry. Volt Zip can finish it off, and Cyrus opens the Distortion World. Distortion World Cyrus is the second hardest fight in the game, and he leads with a Houndoom, and we go for close combat with Sriracha to knock it out. Gyarados comes in, and we swap to Crobat on the Earthquake and Raichu on Ice Fang. No freeze, that lets us Thunderbolt it to take it out. Weavile comes out next and Ice Punches Infernape, and a Mach Punch can hit it back to knock it out. Steelix deals with the Crobat, and an Iron Tail takes it down. Honchkrow comes in, and we need a clean switch, so we have to sack Steelix and then go to Raichu to KO the Honchkrow, winning us the fight. One death isn't bad here, as you could wipe, so Steelix wasn't going to be a plan going forward, so we had to say goodbye to it here. Volkner is the last gym leader of the game, and he leads with a Jolteon. It goes for an Iron Tail and misses, as we can take it out with an Earthquake. Luxray comes out next, and lives an Earthquake on 1 HP, hitting us back with a 4x super effective Ice Fang. I didn't heal my Earthquake PP before the fight, so I'm not going to have enough to take everything out. We X-Scissor and Earthquake again to knock it out, as Electivire is going to come in next, and we're going to have to burn our last Earthquake to kill it here. Raichu is last, and we don't have enough Earthquakes to take it out, so we need a sack. Sorry, Weavile. Weavile falls, and we go to Infernape, who can finish the battle with a close combat and win us our last gym badge of the game. Elite 4 time, and Aaron is first. His Yanmega falls to a Choice Specs boosted Flamethrower, and Drapion comes out and can live one low. It heals up and hits us with an Aerial Ace, but one more Flamethrower is enough to take it out. Heracross falls to one Flamethrower. Vespiquen falls to one Flamethrower. And Scizor falls to one Flamethrower. Easy enough first fight. Bertha is next, and Wishcash falls to a Choice Specs Giga Drain from Bloom. Gliscor comes in and can take one and hit us back with a hard Earthquake, which luckily doesn't crit, and can go down to one more Giga Drain. Golem falls to one Giga Drain. Rhyperior goes down to one Giga Drain. And our Ace Hippowdon also goes down to one Giga Drain. Turns out the Choice Specs are a pretty good item. Flint is next, and Houndoom goes down to a Choice Specs Surf. Infernape goes down to a Surf. Magmortar comes in and can survive in the red, heal back a little with a Citrus Berry, but luckily just goes for Solar Beam, so one more Surf can take it out. Flareon falls to one Surf, and Rapidash goes down to one Surf. Lucian is the last member of the Elite Four, and he's going to lead with a Mr. Mime that falls to a Choice Specs boosted Shadow Ball from Alakazam. Espeon comes in and also goes down to one Shadow Ball. We pivot to Infernape on the Bronzong's Calm Mind and take it out with a single Flare Blitz. Alakazam comes in and Psychics, and we switch to our own Alakazam to finish his with a Shadow Ball. Gallade misses a Stone Edge, and Gliscor can hit an Earthquake, leaving it low, as it goes for a soft Leaf Blade, and one more Earthquake takes it out, winning us the fight, and we're headed to Cynthia. Cynthia leads Spiritomb, and we lead with Alakazam. We set up a light screen and eat a Shadow Ball. We trade Shadow Balls and go for a couple recovers. Unfortunately, a Dark Pulse ends up taking out Alakazam. We send in Roserade, who takes Spiritomb out with a couple Giga Drains. Togekiss comes out, and we set up a Leech Seed and eat an Air Slash. We swap to Volt Slip on an Air Slash and get some recovery and knock it out with the Thunderbolt. We swap to Gliscor on Garchomp's Earthquake, as it hits a hard Dragon Rush, and we retaliate with an Ice Fang. It heals back up with a Citrus Berry, and we go for another Ice Fang, but Cynthia swaps to Milo. We pivot to Raichu on the Ice Beam, and hit it to half with the Thunderbolt. Milo goes for a Mirror Coat, unfortunately taking Raichu out. We go back to Gliscor, who can finish it off with an Earthquake. Garchomp comes back in and hits us with a Dragon Rush to the red. Citrus Berry heals, and we hit her to the red also with an Ice Fang. She full restores, and we hit an Ice Fang for over half. Garchomp here luckily misses a Dragon Fang, so our Ice Fang can knock it out. Lucario comes in and falls to an Earthquake, and we switch to Tentacruel on a Roserade Extrasensory. We hit an Ice Beam that does about half, and unfortunately Tentacruel gets taken out with one more Extrasensory. We send in our starter Sriracha here to finish the run the same way we started it by taking Roserade out and making us the new champions of Sinnoh, and proving that ChatGPT can pick Nuzlocke winning encounters in Pokémon Platinum. If you made it to this point in the video, sincerely thank you, and it would mean the world if you'd consider liking and subscribing. Until next time.